Welcome to Mixed Combat Radio. It is a special edition. TBV Invasion. We got the resident TBV casual fan, Mr. Enrique Church, here with us. How are you doing?
Yo, what's good? I'm doing well. Quite a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite. Yes, let's talk about it. What are the hot topics? I mean, you text me, and I kind of felt in the air, Broner and Mikey Garcia.
Yes,
was brewing. I mean, I don't know where I got that forecast from. Instagram somewhere it leaked out and it was there, but it's breaking news, and everyone is like, I knew it. I called it a long time ago. All these hardcore people all over Twitter and IG. It's crazy. What are the other topics?
Oh, we got plenty of topics. Obviously, we have Miguel Cotto signing a multi-fight deal with Golden Boy. That's interesting news. Maybe a little bit of a shenanigans going on. Maybe, behind the scenes, we may get a rematch in particular with Golden Boy and Miguel Cotto coming up maybe in December. I don't know. Speculation, Obviously, we have Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev drama with Andre Ward, not rumored. It's actually pretty much confirmed now by John David Jackson that Ward's team did offer the trainer of Sergey Kovalev a deal for an unknown amount to leave Sergey Kovalev and come help and train Andre Ward, obviously. Very interesting news. We have Terence Crawford, Victor Postal, rumored to be in August. We have, obviously, like you said, Adrien, the problem, Broner versus Mikey Garcia in July. Just a ton of news to get to, a ton of topics. We also have the Mr. Old Faithful, trainer of the year, my homie, Santiago. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just getting ready to talk.
Hold on. I forgot. You have a sound. Man, I'm so sorry. He has an intro. I'm sorry, Casual. I don't have your intro, but I'm sorry. I'm not going to play the whole thing, Santiago. There you go. Santiago,
uno dos.
It's all good. No worries. But yeah, as always, here to talk boxing, provide some content and interesting topics for all the listeners on hand today on this show. And basically, a lot of good topics and a lot of surprising ones, to say the least, too.
Yes, and obviously we talked about it on the Boxing Voice for Adrien Broner versus Mikey Garcia. The rumors of that happening, Adrien Broner saying he has a big fight happening in July. Mikey Garcia saying he had a big fight in July. We were sort of connecting the dots. Nothing really set in stone, and then all of a sudden, Showtime, Steven Espinoza, pretty much they have a promo for it now. It's in July, I believe July 29th. Going to be on Showtime. No location set though. So obviously, Enrique, first thoughts on this fight being official. What's your feeling around it? What's the hype around it in your perception?
Oh, well, the hype for me, I'm hoping first off that it happens in Brooklyn Barclays Center. That would be awesome. I'll definitely be in attendance. Now you mean fighting style? What are my thoughts? Like early prediction? What's the question? Style versus style?
Prediction and how big of a fight is this? Like, is this a big fight?
To me, this is a huge fight. This is a big name for Mikey Garcia. Also another name for Adrien Broner. If you take it that way, in my opinion, Adrien Broner has more of experience, I think. But Mikey Garcia is a very technical guy with a knockout streak. And it's a dangerous fight for Broner, I believe. But I think that Broner's speed will probably be the test for Mikey Garcia.
Thoughts on the fight being at 140?
Well, Mikey Garcia is moving up, correct? And Adrien Broner has a history of having problems at 140, 147. Is that the right post? Would you agree with that?
Yes, even though Mikey Garcia had one fight at 140 before the Zatishin fight, I would still say that he is moving up in weight, and Broner trying to move down.
Moved down from 147, but he did struggle at 140. Is that where he fought Maidana?
No, he got Maidana at 147.
147. All right. thoughts of it at 140. I think I never take when it goes up. 35, 40. I think that's similar, same weight class. If you ask me, I just don't know whose advantage it is coming in at 140 fight night.
Santiago, thoughts?
Well, obviously, I was a little surprised to see that this fight was made, and the fact that it is at 140 will be more to whether or not Broner can make the weight than Garcia being at the weight, because I feel that if Garcia were to cap off at this point in his career, it probably would be at 140. And so I do feel that while Broner has fought the physically bigger and stronger men, we have to take into account the mindset that tends to trail him when it comes to how he fights his fights. And so if you were to ask what my early prediction would be, it would probably be Mikey Garcia by decision or late round stoppage.
Is this a cash out, guys? Is Al Heyman cashing out Mikey Garcia? I mean, not Mikey Garcia, Adrien Broner against Garcia?
No, on the Boxing Voice recently, there was like this discussion, and you were part of it, Matt Hunter, when we was talking about I just lost the thought. Oh, Mikey, not Mike, Danny Garcia fighting Sean Porter. How that would be either a bad move, not a cash out, but a bad move, because the loss would then decrease his. So
are you saying this is a bad move and not cash out?
Nah, I think this is Al Heyman fighting marquee names together. That's what his history is right now. Marquee names fighting each other. We're not getting the build up, marinate, the between fight, and wait and call out. We're getting like the announcement and then the build up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think this is a cash out. I think Broner is not going to be stopped. I doubt it. And if he does, man, Mikey Garcia it has a promising future, and Crawford is in his distance instead of Adrien Broner, right? Because that's the move. So I don't think it's a cash out. No. Does it lower his value, his stock? What do you think?
I think if he loses to Mikey Garcia, there's nothing good that can come from it.
Right, but I don't think he won't have another fight behind it.
Well, that's the thing with Broner, is that he's such a name, and he can create so many storylines that he's one of the guys that he can always take losses and come back and be in a big fight. In my opinion, he will always be that guy.
Right.
I think unless he's being knocked out a lot, I mean, there's no reason for him not to be in the discussion of big fights. He's only lost tough fights, close fights.
Now, obviously, this looks like we're favoriting Mikey Garcia on this one. So, what do you think? What are Mikey Garcia's flaws? Have you seen it, Santiago, since you put yourself in a trainer's point of view?
Well, Garcia, for the most part, is a pretty technically sound fighter. He is, in my view, a slow starter. Like Crawford, he likes to take his time, feel out his opponent, and see what it is. And what Broner would really need to do is, take the initiative, start fast, and basically keep Garcia on his toes and not let him get settled. But at the same time, we mostly know Broner as a guy who likes to throw one or two shots. He's not really a combination fighter. And so I could see that playing more into Garcia's favor than Broner's, because while Broner probably has the edge in speed, I think that Garcia has the edge in timing.
Wow, I would say Broner is a timer, but not saying Mikey Garcia isn't as well. I think because you mentioned Mikey Garcia's a slow starter, I know that Adrien Broner on the inside looks phenomenal at times. He did what I think he fought a guy, Ponce Leon, something like that, right? It might be wrong. But once he goes in there and he starts throwing those inside hooks and fighting, making it a scrap fight, Mikey Garcia has to have a plan for the inside, I think, more than the time. Well, I'll take that back. Yeah, he has to have a plan for the inside and the outside, because he's a great outside fighter, I believe, Mikey Garcia. Not sure how good he looks in the inside.
But here's the thing. The guys that have beat Broner or have done well against him have roughed him up on the inside. Sean Porter, obviously Marcos Maidana. Adrien Granado's had success from bullying him. That's always been the style for Broner, or the kryptonite for Broner, is guys to rough him up, to not let him be comfortable. Mikey's one flaw, the one reason why I will not have any issue with anyone picking Adrien Broner in this fight, is because Mikey Garcia starts slow, like Santiago says, and he doesn't like to have a lot of volume.
He's not a physical fighter.
He's very methodical. He's not a physical fighter. He is not in the ilk of the classic Mexican boxer. He's not a Chavez Sr. He's more of a Marquez. And that's a big difference in this type of fight. I think he is going to give Broner time to breathe, time to set his pace, time to set up his shots. That's going to be a very interesting style standpoint for this fight. One that I have a really tough issue trying to predict right now. Obviously, I'm going to go with Mikey. He's just been more consistent lately. I think he's overall the better boxer, but styles make fights. And Broner may have the style to give Mikey all the trouble in the world that guys like Orlando Salido couldn't, guys like Juan Manuel Lopez could not give him, guys like Rocky Martinez couldn't give him, because those guys just aren't in the ilk of an Adrien Broner. They don't have that style. And I would even argue that Mikey Garcia has never fought a guy like Broner. Broner may have fought guys like Mikey Garcia in a way, but Mike Garcia has never fought a guy like Broner. I mean, Santiago, you're the human boxer, right? Is there anyone on Mikey's resume that resembles a Broner?
I'm looking at it right now, and no, I was just asking myself the same question when you mentioned Salido and Lopez and Rocky. Adrien Broner, man, that Adrien Granado's fight was tough for him, but he was victorious. So I think Adrien Granado is comparable to Mikey Garcia. Am I wrong?
Repeat that. Sorry.
I think Adrien Granados is similar to Mikey Garcia.
I wouldn't say so. I say Adrien Granados is way more physical on the inside. He likes working the clinch, the inside boxing. And you even said Mikey Garcia likes to be at range. Yeah, Mikey Garcia likes to work that jab, likes to work the 1-2, and then work counters. I would say actually they almost mimic each other in terms of what they want to accomplish in the ring. Both Broner and Garcia are counter boxers, in a sense.
Yeah, most definitely. The other thing that would probably need to be factored in is the X factor for me and Broner being, how he really considers approaching this fight, because we've seen in the Sean Porter fight that he had a don't care attitude, and in the 12th round we all saw that if he had really pushed the pace, pushed the effort, he could have beaten Sean Porter. And in the post-fight interview, he pretty much didn't care about the loss. He's like, I'm sad, my family said, I don't really care.
Right. I don't give that 12th round. I don't buy that. He tried his best the 12th round. He just got lucky. It wasn't like he was setting that up from round one on. So sort of like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when he fought the Argentinian guy. What's his name? Matt, help me out.
Sergio Martinez.
Yeah. Everyone was like, wow, the 12th round if he would have. But then you see him against Canelo Alvarez. And
there's levels.
There's levels.
Sport shows that there are levels way more than a lot of different sports.
Right. And that night, Sean Porter was the man with the better skills who did not allow Adrien Broner to work. So now let's see, does that happen? Who does that happen to come July 29th, right? That's the date?
Yes.
Right. So that's a big fight, man. I think it's a test, a bigger test for Mikey Garcia than it is for Adrien Broner, because Adrien Broner has that experience. He's bigger than Orlando Salido, better than Juan Manuel Lopez, had a greater record than Roman Martinez, and we don't know who Dejan Zatishani was. You know what I mean? And if you look at Adrien Broner's resume, and I'm not taking anything away from Mikey Garcia, he looks phenomenal, and there's levels. He looked great against them, but I think the test is if he looks that good against Adrien Broner, then damn, he's a skillful guy.
And I think like you said, I think Mikey Garcia is the one being tested in this fight, but it's interesting because a lot of people in the media, I would say, a lot of fans predict Mikey Garcia to win.
Right.
Why is that?
Because they think that Adrien Broner doesn't take boxing serious. You know that he's on he's on Instagram. He's obviously partying. He looks chubby. He you know, he's doing damn, for lack of better words, hood rat things, and they think that he's more of that than being in the gym. You know, hard work, dedication.
That's why I figured that had to be factored in as an X factor, the mentalities that they'll bring into the fight.
Absolutely.
I just hope that Adrien Broner comes in prepared 100%. I mean, he's spewing out the same words. I'm more mature now. I'm focused. I'm ready.
Yeah, but he said that before. I mean, that's
that before. So, but he's said that for Adrian Granados and Ashley Thompson or Teal Payne, whatever the guy's name is. So, yeah, I'm hoping I mean, he knows that Mikey Garcia is none of those his last previous fights. You know what I'm saying?
Any final points on this topic, gentlemen?
May the best man win.
True. Oh, location. Sorry, we have to talk about location. It's been rumored to be at the Barclays. Are we all just assuming it's going to be at the Barclays at this point? All signs point to it.
I hope so. I really hope so. It'll be there.
It seems likely.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that this is probably going to be at the Barclays. So we're going to move on to the next topic, the drama with Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. John David Jackson being offered a certain amount to come train Andre Ward and betray Sergey Kovalev. First question is, what do we make of this news? Is it real? Is there substance to it? Is it just mind games played by the Ward camp? You know, Enrique, what are your thoughts about this sort of behind the scenes back dealing between these two camps?
Ooh, if it's real, right? I don't even know how
the offer was real, because John David Jackson admitted there was an offer.
Shit, well, that is tempting. Damn, I don't even know how to respond to it. I think that I don't see Son of God his trainer. Who's his trainer?
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil Hunter. Why would Virgil Hunter even do that? It's got to be a mind game. Why? You know, what would they offer him? To be head trainer? To be, you know, second man trainer? It's a snake move. If John David Jackson would had joined forces, you know, because he seems like he and Sergey are like brothers. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's making noise for the fight, because that fight has no build up. You know, Adrien Broner, Mikey Garcia immediately cast a shadow over that, you know. But I think
it's weird.
It is weird.
Santiago, initial thoughts when you heard this news?
Just talk, you know, gamesmanship, trying to get into the minds of, you know, Kovalev, and like kind of maybe put a rift in there, make him think otherwise about what John David Jackson's intentions are. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, whether or not it was reached out, I doubt he would have ever considered it. You know, even if he himself has stated that, you know, if they gave him Fort Knox, he would have done so.
Oh, no, she didn't.
I don't know. I think the fact that there was an offer made that both parties are saying did happen. It's not one party saying, you know, trying to put it into the news cycle that this story, and the other side rebuking it. Both sides are saying there was an offer. Was the offer legit? Was it for an amount that was respectable? Was it just a text message or an email saying, "Hey, we would like you to come over. We can talk about amounts," and then that was it? But as far as I know, there was an actual number amount offered.
And it's also the phrasing. He specifically said that they said I reached out to them, when really they reached out to me.
Wait, John David Jackson said they told the media that he reached out to them?
Yes.
That John David Jackson reached out to Ward.
Yeah. And then John David Jackson came out and said, no, that's not true. They approached me.
So what is Sergey Kovalev's relationship like with John David Jackson?
I mean, I'll be honest. I've heard that this isn't necessarily the best thing that's happened, and it is sort of disrupting camp. Those are rumors, though. There's nothing official has come out on the record, as far as I know. I could be wrong about that, but I have not seen a official quote from Sergey Kovalev saying anything about it.
Right. So let's speculate. Right. So now, if John David Jackson were to really reach out to the Andre Ward camp to be in their corner, which means he has all this information on Sergey, and he can take it over there and have the advantage. Kovalev will have the disadvantage, rather, and the psyche messed up. But my question comes from, what's going on between John David Jackson and Sergey Kovalev? Like, are they in bad water? You know, is it like, fuck it, then I don't need you if you want to act that arrogant? You know, it's not my fault that you lost last time, and so forth and so on. Like, what's their relationship? Is their relationship shaky?
I'll be honest. I've never seen their relationship to be on the level of Virgil Hunter and Andre Ward. I mean, right. Virgil Hunter is basically seen as a father to Andre Ward based on what's happened in Andre Ward's life. Sergey Kovalev has switched trainers before. He's used to train with Abel Sanchez. Kovalev has a history of moving around trainers, for example. So I don't know. Maybe there is a deterioration within the relationship. Right. It has seemed close, like you said. I never got the perception that there was a rift or anything like that. I never got that feeling. But now that is a storyline in the media. But again, is that just mind games? Was this offer a joke offer that meant nothing, that was just used to create storylines and create rift that wasn't there between Sergey Kovalev and John David Jackson, create doubt? I think if that was to happen, damn, Ward and Team Ward, Rock Nation, that's some evil shit. But like in a good way. Like that's a way to hype the fight in a way. It is a way to create some sort of advantages in your favor. You know, everyone downplays mind games, but that shit is real.
Right. And it also then puts Sergey Kovalev in doubt of his trainer's loyalty. If he believes that John David Jackson reached out to the Ward camp.
Now, let's say that did not happen. Let's say it was just Ward's team offering a deal. Is it a joke deal? Do we think it's a joke deal, that there was nothing behind it?
Again, and see if, maybe it's a bait. See if he bites and jumps over. What if they know what John David Jackson's getting paid? Maybe he has financial problems. You know what I'm saying? We don't know that part. So maybe they put something out there and rescue him.
Santiago, any thoughts?
This hypothetical thought.
Yes, all speculation. All speculation. We have nothing to go by it. But hey, who cares,
Yeah, my opinions on that would be like, I doubt there would have been anything substantial behind it, because they felt they won the fight handedly in their minds, and so I have to go with the logic. Is like, what do we really need him for? If we beat him the first time, we'll beat him again the second time.
Any final thoughts on this topic, gentlemen?
Yeah, well, I kind of have to disagree with what not really what Santiago was saying, because they do believe that they beat him, right, without argument. But on paper, you can argue that Sergey Kovalev had the better punching stats, if that's true. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but then we can have the argument of punching stats, and that's a rabbit hole in and of itself.
Yeah. So my final thoughts is, again, their fight is not that interesting anymore without this drama.
Really? Do you think that without this sort of hype, this drama, that there would be no hype going into the pay-per-view?
No, there is nothing else to hype it up, but that Sergey Kovalev is a dangerous fighter who outpunched Andre Ward, but Andre Ward got the victory. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm going to watch the fight. I think at that moment is when you get excited about it. There's no build-up. There's no story. So they came up with this one. Someone did, which is clever.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Casual on this one too, because as we all know, Ness was pretty much just ho-hum about this. Like, what's the point and everything. So you kind of need something to grab somebody like Ness's attention for this fight. The storylines are what's going to matter. And, for a fact, these storylines are probably going to be played into the 24/7 HBO special.
What about your attention?
Not of this world.
What about your attention, Matt? Is it grabbing your attention? Was it attention grabber before the rumor or the actual storyline of the offer?
It's interesting because I think that we're in a position of this fight probably isn't going to be the most entertaining fight. I think we all are under that expectation or that assumption that this fight may be a worse version of even the first one, which to a lot of people wasn't entertaining. Enrique, mute yourself for a second because there's some feedback. I think that this hype or this drama doesn't add anything to the pay-per-view. I think this does nothing to the bottom line, unfortunately. And we were, me, Santiago, JP, Info Joe, we were training last night for, TBV Border Wars. Check it out, patreon.com/TheBoxingVoice. And we were discussing Spence and Ward and comparing the two and juxtaposing how one is seemingly becoming a star and one isn't. Yet they're both resembling each other, both Olympians. One has a medal, one doesn't. They're both undefeated. Both are sort of vanilla. I mean, both aren't the greatest interviews, I would say. I mean, Earl Spence isn't the greatest interview. I think he's getting better, but he's not. Andre Ward is not the greatest interview. And overall, both guys have not been the most receptive to the media. And that's interesting to me. But yet one is a star. And I think the reason is because we all assume Andre Ward brings boring fights. And the only way we really care about boring fighters is if they're the villain, is if they're the star, if they're Mayweather, if they're Money May, or even they're the Adrien Broner. Because obviously Adrien Broner was exciting in the beginning, but he's put on a lot of boring fights since then. Even in his wins against Ashley Theophane and such, he has been in boring fights. Why is he still a star? Because he's the villain. It's easier to sell and be a shit fighter when everyone hates you. It's very hard to be loved and be a shit fighter, or not shit fighter, I should say, a boring fighter or an unentertaining fighter for the masses. And Andre Ward is sort of in that camp. And even though Sergey Kovalev has a hardcore following and he's entertaining, he's only a hardcore name. Nobody outside of hardcores, or I shouldn't say hardcores, but boxing fans, people that watch boxing all the time, know about Sergey Kovalev. There's nobody that watches football on Sunday or the NBA Finals and that's all they watch, and they know who Sergey Kovalev is. Those people don't know who he is. And you can make an argument they don't know who Andre Ward is. It's unfortunate.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, there's bad blood between both camps anyway, between both fighters, actually. Andre Ward not showing up to one of the press conferences, and he's not liked by Kovalev. So I could see the fight being a little bit more exciting. Kovalev coming in faster, going for a knockout, thinking he's going to get robbed on the cards. He may make a mistake and get knocked out, but I see it being an exciting fight because of that. But no one knows. But no one knows, you know what I'm saying? Nobody knows. I would hate for it to go.
Are you not entertained?
Most people say no, unfortunately, for Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev too. It's unfortunate.
I would hate for Kovalev to get the better end and then a rematch happening again and we see a trilogy.
Oh my God. We're gonna get that. Like, I hope everyone understands that we're gonna get another controversial decision. Sergey Kovalev's gonna win this time, and we're gonna get a trilogy by the end of the year or early next year. I feel like that's all assumed. Unfortunate.
A knockout has to happen.
Yeah, most definitely.
In other news, there's a knockout happening, right? With Miguel Cotto and his new opponent.
I mean, do we even want to talk about the fight itself or just him signing with Golden Boy and what that means? Because I think we all assume he's going to beat Kama Guy.
Yeah. I mean, I had this conversation with Joe after everybody else left, and there wasn't really much to really say. Like, most of me and Joe personally felt that Cotto's in the cash out stage of his career where he's pretty much going to try to get the most bang for his buck and then call it a career. So really, I think the bigger news is, like, how is he going to do his thing with Golden Boy?
Well, he had a thing going with Rock Nation, or a thing supposed to be happening, right? And that went away because we weren't getting the big fights. And I wonder if whose fault that was, if that's Cotto or if that's Rock Nation not able to make a fight for him. Now Golden Boy having him, who's in that camp, we will see. Golden Boy has a relationship with Antonio. No, what's his name? He knocked out He knocked out Pacquiao. Help me.
Knocked out Pacquiao. You mean Marquez?
Marquez, right?
They have a semi-relationship with him, yes.
So that can probably happen down the line. I don't see Canelo rematching him. Possibly would rematch him if he did defeat Triple G.
Even if he loses to Triple G, he will fight Cotto again.
But there's probably a rematch for Canelo if Triple G was to win. But the other way around is not, right? Is that the word? I thought.
No, I would say both are possible.
We also got possible Lemieux, right?
Yes. That'd be nice.
We also have possible.
That's not happening.
What?
The only fight Miguel Cotto takes at middleweight is a rematch with Canelo, and that's a retirement fight.
Yeah, I was gonna throw Timothy Bradley.
Timothy Bradley, doable. Obviously, with Golden Boy and Top Rank now doing work together, that is.
You can make crossover fights.
You can make a lot more crossover fights in this year and the last year and a half compared to 5 years ago. So all these fights are possible. I would say that Cotto fighting maybe a junior middleweight is possible as well. Even though it's on the Al Haymon side, a lot of those guys, so that'd be intriguing. Maybe a Demetrius Andrade versus Miguel Cotto, that might be possible. Kell Brook versus Miguel Cotto, that was rumored to be before the Earl Spence fight. That may happen. I think, like you said, Miguel Cotto is in the cash out phase, or he's in the phase of, I'm taking retirement fights, I'm taking some big fights, make some money, I'm getting out of the sport.
But his first fight on the Golden Boy is not a big fight.
I think we all knew that was going to happen. I think no one wanted to fight him off the Canelo loss. For some reason, no one really wanted to fight him. Well, he didn't want to fight anyone. I don't know what it is. It was, again, you asked about the whole Rock Nation thing. Whose side is it on? Who's to blame for that whole debacle of a promotional work with him? I don't know. I've never seen a promoter screw up a fighter like that in that short amount of a time, and offer a contract for that amount, and where in this market nowadays that's just not possible.
Would it be fair to say that it might be a little bit of both on their parts?
It's
Cotto
100% both, 100%. Because Cotto, okay, you know what? No, actually, I can't say it's both. It's all Rock Nation's fault. They're the ones that gave him the contract for that amount. They're the ones that gave him that amount that they could not meet because there was no fight available to him. And why was there no fight available to him? Because of Rock Nation. Rock Nation has had issues getting fights with other people. That's been proven. That they have had a tough time negotiating with these other promoters. Why? Because they are not a boxing promoter. They are coming into this industry with no knowledge, no background, no history, and that hurts them in the negotiation table. And plus, as far as I know, there's really no huge backing by Rock Nation into boxing. It's very surface level, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You know, obviously, Enrique, you're out on the East Coast. You're by Rock Nation Central, pretty much. You might know a little bit better than I do. But it does not seem like there is a lot of support from the company to boxing like there is for their other signed talent in other industries.
Right. I think they're more like a manager than a promoter. But
Good point.
But then again, I don't know what you know, like Regan Dow, he doesn't have any fights. You know, Rock Nation signs him, right?
Yes.
Right. Who else is Rock Nation? Andre Ward. We didn't see him fight Adonis Stevenson. You know.
And that won't happen because of Rock Nation's history with Al Haymon.
Let's see. So now
that's the one divide in boxing that will stay consistent right now that I believe. I think Oscar and Al Haymon can work together, in my opinion. I just do not believe that Jay-Z and Beyonce and their company can work with Al Haymon with what has happened between them.
They're just the face to the company, but I don't know who really runs it. And you might be right. Maybe they're forbidden fruit. Yeah, so there you go. That explains why Rock Nation has no fights for Cotto, because all the real fights would be on the PBC side, right? We don't see Regendow any fighters, and Mikey Garcia is who? PBC businessman partner.
Mikey Garcia is a free agent. He's not signed with anyone,
but he's been fighting all the Al Haymon guys.
Yes, but he's not signed with Al Haymon.
Cards. Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah, he got a good position, especially with this fight. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how it works out, but Miguel Cotto, he's got a lot of following, so whoever he fights, people will tune in knowing that he'll win or not.
Who do you want to fight next after this common guy fight?
I would like to see, him fight a top-ranked guy.
Name one.
Timothy Bradley.
I like that fight. Santiago, name one fight you want Miguel Cotto to face after common guy.
Actually, I think it was Fern who mentioned this. I think it'd be an interesting fight against Vanes Matarosian.
Why would you do that to us? Come on, man.
Why is that so interesting?
That's a hipster's choice right there. That's a total hipster's choice.
I think a draw would be Timothy Bradley.
Marquez, Timothy Bradley, I think makes sense. Vans doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, that just doesn't. It doesn't compute to me. I don't know why.
I'm looking at it in terms of the fights that he would take that he feels would be winnable, and I think that would be a winnable fight for him.
You don't think he thinks the Timothy Bradley fight's winnable or a Marquez fight's winnable?
Oh, for me, all of those fights are winnable for him too.
I favor Cotto against all those guys too.
Yeah, I would too, especially since he would be dictating the terms at 154. There's no way I would see him doing a catch weight below 152.
Interesting.
Not at 147.
I don't think he will, but I can see certain fighters getting him down for that.
What if Manny Pacquiao were to fight him?
Yeah, he'll come down. But I don't know if that fight happens. I don't think there's a rematch there.
Right.
I think we saw exactly what happens between those two styles. That Manny Pacquiao is just on a different level and the worst style for Miguel Cotto.
Right. Good point.
Next topic, unless anyone has any final thoughts on this. No, we're all good. Okay, Canelo giving the finger to the WBC, telling them to fuck off. I'm kidding. He didn't actually say that. Basically, he said that. They continue, WBC, I'm saying, continue to try to press Canelo to take the huichol belt. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I could be pronouncing it wrong. If I am, go in the live chat and tell me how wrong I am. And basically, the WBC has given this belt to a museum as a result because Canelo is still refusing to get to involve himself with the WBC. Not a huge story at all, but just another further interesting chapter to Canelo Alvarez versus the WBC. Really the first Mexican star to go against the WBC. I think this is one of the most fascinating storylines of the year. How it's going to affect the Triple G fight is going to be interesting because the WBC's full-on backing of Triple G. So thoughts on Canelo giving the finger to the WBC again, and are these fences ever to be mended? Are these two parties, these two entities, ever going to work together again, or are we seeing the end of Canelo Alvarez with the WBC?
I think it's the end. It's extremely disrespectful because we like to see that belt. I don't know what the fees are along to having that belt. I could understand the story changing, the relationship changing because it's a money thing. Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, I don't know why he's not saying anything about it. If he has, I didn't hear it. So I mean, I look at it as that because again, who manages him? And someone else has to help him make decisions, right? Or sit down with him and agree or disagree or suggest. And it's a Mexican belt, man. So it's kind of disrespectful. I don't know what Mauricio did to them.
I mean, obviously, we did a show about on TBV a while back about the start of this feud.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listened to that episode. I don't know if you were on it. It was a long time ago, so I forget. Sorry about that. But basically, he does not like the WBC. This is what he is saying because they were pressuring him to fight Triple G or make the deal with Triple G in a short window when he was dealing with the lawsuit. He was dealing with a legal battle with his former promoter. And that is why he does not like the WBC anymore. He doesn't want to fuck with them, is because he felt they were going at him when he asked them to lay off, basically, to give me more time.
He's an athlete. There's rules, you know what I'm saying? And that's that. Those are the rules.
No, those rules are arbitrary, just to be honest. I mean, there's nothing. The rules they set for him were an arbitrary rule set that are not in their guidelines. But again, that is up to their discretion. That's another clause in the WBC rules and regulations, that all these rules are up to their discretion, and they can either apply by them or not apply by them on their sole discretion. So that's just unfortunately the way it is with sanctioning bodies. But I wonder if this is going to affect the Triple G fight in any way, or is Canelo just not going to fight for that? And it's not an issue.
I personally feel that it's not going to be an issue, because really all Canelo has to do is just not pay the sanctioning fee, and that's it. It is up to Triple G at that point whether or not he decides to pay the sanctioning fee and defend that title along with all the other belts. But for all intents and purposes, while the WBC belt may be on the line, if Canelo were to win, the only belt that would be vacated would be the WBC belt. And really quickly, Fern wanted me to clear up that he never said Van is next. I just personally wanted to bring that up as I thought that would be an interesting fight for Cotto.
Listen, I don't think it affects. I was in a boxing gym a week or two ago. I don't remember what former champion said this, but he said the fighters at some level, they don't need the belts. You know what I'm saying? They are the star. So I think Canelo knows that he could milk the boxing world, or not milk, but
Pause.
Pause. take all the money he can make, because boxing is kind of it's brutal. You get beat up and then everybody forgets about you. You know what I'm saying? So he's taking as much cash as he can, and he wants to not pay the minimum amount of fees, like taxes, bro. You don't want to pay much taxes, so you write everything off. He wrote the WBC belt off. WBC doesn't like that.
Yeah, no, it's not a far-fetched notion to think that that's not the case too, because when Carlos Baldomir fought Judah for the undisputed lightweight championship, he only paid one sanctioning fee. He didn't pay for the other one, so it's kind of like it does not. In my opinion, it does nothing to affect the fight. But for some people, it's probably like the WBC belt, that green belt, that that's the belt that usually matters more. But really, Canelo is at that stage in his career where really the belts are a little bit more aesthetic than they are necessary.
That's true.
Didn't Mayweather not pay the sanctioning fee to the WBA when the Pacquiao fight?
What was that? What was that?
Mayweather, did he pay the sanctioning fee for one of the belts during the Pacquiao fight? I thought he didn't pay the WBA sanctioning fees. I could be wrong on that.
Well, from what I understand, all the belts were on the line. He just simply vacated all but, I think, the WBC belt for the Berto fight.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, I just think that the Canelo saga with the WBC is just an interesting one, because we haven't seen a star like this really go against the sanctioning body as vehemently as he has in a long time, I would say. I mean, Floyd never went at a sanctioning body in this way. Mike Tyson never went at a sanctioning body this way. Sugar Ray Leonard never went at a sanctioning body this way. Muhammad Ali never went at a sanctioning body in this way. So it's just interesting to me that this is a paradigm shift of stars giving the finger to authorities, basically, which is the sanctioning bodies.
Didn't Miguel Cotto do the same thing when he fought Canelo? It was something he gave up. He gave up a belt, not to pay the fees. No,
Santiago, human box rec. No,
I thought.
Okay. Well, what was the question?
I thought Miguel Cotto at one time gave up fighting for the WBC belt to not pay the fees, and it was because
sanctioning fees. No,
yeah.
From what I understand, he hasn't really given up a belt for a fight. I understand that had he won against Canelo when they fought, if the WBC had mandated that he fight Triple G next, he would have vacated the belt, but he hasn't really not paid the sanctioning fees for any belts that he's held.
See, Tony in the chat is saying Cotto dropped the belt week of the fight to not pay the fees. I remember that being news.
Yeah, I remember something along those lines. Again, I remember, but the whole Cotto Canelo middleweight saga was such bullshit that I sort of just tuned it out, to be honest. And sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say now Triple G and Canelo, if Triple G were to win and then strap me up with that green belt, and then a rematch would happen, he probably would have to be paying the fees if he won, right? On the rematch.
No, not necessarily.
He would be fighting for the belt at that point. Then
again, like you brought it up, like the belts mean nothing for a star.
They don't.
They don't. I mean, so whoever wins the Canelo Triple G fight, the loser's going to want a rematch,
regardless.
Does that rematch happen? I don't know, because if Canelo wins and it's a very close competitive fight, there's no way he's going to take that tough fight back to back. He just won't. There's no reason to. He won it. He would prove the haters wrong. But if Triple G wins, of course Canelo wants to fight again. But again, the belts don't matter because that's just the fight. Sometimes the belts are meaningless. The belts only matter when you're the guy coming up.
Right, the contenders.
Yes, exactly, because a belt is your way of trying to become a star. It's very hard to become a star when you don't have the belt. But once you become a star, you don't need the belt. It's an interesting sort of situation there for boxers.
Right. It's not like, winning that NBA ring.
Exactly. Now, hold on one second. Sorry, Enrique, can you take it away for a second?
Yeah, I'm a big Cotto fan. I'm hoping that Cotto has a rematch with Canelo if Canelo were to win Triple G.
I personally feel that if he did take the rematch, that would be his final fight, and that would be him cashing out for all the marbles against Canelo in the rematch. Because I feel Canelo right now is in his physical prime. Cotto's already past that. And, Cotto would be at that given point in time ripe for the picking for a knockout.
Yeah, but Cotto still looks like a strong man, strong fighter. He doesn't look like Marquez to me. Marquez looks strong. I just see him in a suit. But when you see pictures of Cotto, he in a suit, he still looks fit. You know what I mean? Like the clothes are fitted. And he looks well kept, like he's still training, he's still working out, he's still keeping sharp because he knows there's a big fight out there for him.
Yes. Now, final topic of the show. No, actually, we might get into fight predictions, very quick fight predictions for this weekend for Adonis Stevenson versus Fonfara. But final, topic of news, of headlines out there: Terence Crawford versus Julius Indongo in August is rumored to be happening. Bob Arum is saying that is what's being targeted. Sergey Lepinets's manager is saying that Indongo is indeed fighting Crawford, and the IBF belt is being vacated for Sergey Lepinets to fight in a vacant title fight. Thoughts on Terence Crawford versus Julius Indongo, and thoughts on him vacating the belt to get the fight with Terence Crawford?
I don't know his opponent. I'm reading about it as we speak. But what was that question about giving up the belt?
Julius Indongo is giving up his IBF belt to take the fight against Terence Crawford.
Right.
And what do you think about that? I mean, a lot of people were saying that Terence Crawford should take the Julius Indongo fight to unify the division completely. And that's the only reason he should take that fight before the Pacquiao fight. But now the IBF belt's not going to be on the line. So what's the point?
Well, what is Julius Indongo's reputation? Because I really don't. I haven't seen his fight. Maybe I have. I just don't remember. It's not memorable.
Yeah, he has a very powerful left hand, light on his toes, good boxer, long, tall, good jab.
Is he a mover?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
He's a southpaw. What is he?
Yeah, he's a southpaw.
All right. Well, that's the only thing I see him having that southpaw stance, where we don't know if Terence Crawford is a southpaw or an orthodox fighter. You know.
So you think Julius Indongo is no threat?
I don't know him. I don't have real opinion over him. I know that him giving up his belt, he really believes that, you know, a Crawford fight would do something for him because he believes he's going to win, right? So
true. Santiago, thoughts?
Yeah, obviously the storyline going into making the fight alone was just the simple fact that both guys had 2 of the 4 major sanctioning body belts, and that, you know, it was to be a crowning of another undisputed lightweight champion, and it would have been only the 4th time since the creation of the 4 belts that all 4 belts would have been on the line. So for Indongo to have vacated the IVF belt to make the fight with Crawford does sully the fight a little, in my opinion, because now it's not really for all the marbles in the world. It's for 3 of the 4 marbles, and it's like, obviously Indongo feels the fight means something. It is something to help his career, and he does probably feel he can beat Crawford. And you know, you, me, Joe, JP, I think we all met up to watch, you know, his fight against Ricky Burns, and he's a skillful fighter. You know, he's got good footwork. He knows how to control the distance well, going forwards or backwards. You know, he's got a really good sense of distance, and I could see him posing some problems for Crawford, but Crawford is just a wholly skilled fighter overall. You know, the kind of fighter that you basically make on a video game, and it's interesting to see how this fight builds up.
Is this just a sidestep on the way to Manny Pacquiao?
I feel that's the ultimate goal, in my opinion. That is the ultimate goal, if Pacquiao is still around by that point, to get the Pacquiao fight, to get that passing of the torch, you know, to basically burst onto the scenes and be the next coming in the welterweight division. But you know, with the way that Pacquiao's going about with his career trajectory as it winds down, I'm not sure if he will get that fight, you know, soon enough.
Who gets to fight, Crawford or Pacquiao?
That Crawford gets the Pacquiao fight.
Right. I think it's the Bob Arum technique to let that build up, let people talk about it, and then eventually let it happen. So, yeah, Indongo is probably 2 fights before we see Manny Pacquiao. I mean, and Crawford. I don't even see that happen top of next year. But it would be a surprise, right?
It doesn't happen in the top of next year even? That's sad if that would happen.
That's sad if it happened?
Yeah, if we don't get Crawford and Pacquiao either at the end of this year or the top of next year, then that's a travesty to boxing fans.
Right. So what about Errol Spence versus Crawford?
I would take that fight.
Right. So that's a big fight. Maybe it's Manny Pacquiao who doesn't want to fight. I don't even see coverage. I know I text you text me about, there's coverage all over the place. I haven't even seen coverage of Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao. So,
but what's your definition of coverage?
Coverage is like, all right, immediately Broner was called with Mikey Garcia. We see that. You know, you see fighters prepping for the fight on Instagram, on Twitter. You see things. You read another article about it. There's some things fueling, you know, that kind of stuff. There's none of that happening.
Well,
I'm sure in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we're going to see a lot of tweets from Broner, Instagram posts from Broner, responses from Mikey Garcia, you know, Showtime, whoever airs it, it's going to be on their channel, on Instagram feed, their social media outlets. You know, there's going to be pictures surfacing, that kind of coverage. I don't hear anything on Jeff Horn or see anything on Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao. I would have to dig on the internet to find it.
Well, I wouldn't say we have to dig, but the issue with Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao is that if me or you go on Twitter, we are within the boxing Twitter bubble of who we follow and who follows us. We are unfortunately within that bubble, so we don't see outside of it. And that bubble is very negative and very hateful on Jeff Horn versus Manny Pacquiao for rightful reasons and reasons that I agree with, that fight is shit and we should not be accepting that fight. So that's why we do not like that. That's why we do not accept it. But is it a big fight? Yes, it's Manny Pacquiao fighting. They're selling out 55,000 plus seat stadium in Australia for this fight. it's going to be a very big event. It's going to be on free television, according to Bob Arum. Again, if there was a network that had this fight signed as of today, I think we would be seeing more promos for it on TV, through radio and such. I think the reason why we haven't got that yet is because all the particulars of this fight are not settled right now. But it's still a Manny Pacquiao fight. I would still say it's big. There are still plenty of articles being written about it, plenty of videos on it. It may not be as big within the boxing bubble, but that's, again, the boxing bubble is not hyping this fight. They're hyping Mikey Garcia, Adrien Broner, because to us, to boxing fans, to boxing media, that is a better and bigger fight. But again, Manny Pacquiao's name transcends everyone's name at this point.
First of all, you got to know this. Australia alone in sport betting is bigger than the whole world, the whole globe. It's Australia first.
Really?
And then I forgot what's that other the Chinese town that Bob Arum went to as well. That was like Vegas.
Macau.
That's like number 2. You know, so that's his style. Bob Arum. Let's go where they bet. You know, and Australia is one of the biggest, if not number 1. It's number 2. I believe if the research is that it is number 1. It's one of the most gamblers in the whole entire world come from Australia. So I could see it selling out. It's a huge bet. People are gonna go bet against, because Jeff Horn he is an Australian fighter, yes?
Yes.
All right. So there you go. I mean, I don't think people believe that he's gonna win against a Manny Pacquiao.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. No. No coverage. No channel has purchased this fight. Where we're gonna watch it? TopRank.com.
That's what they did for the Jesse Vargas fight. So in all likelihood, it seems like it would be another Top Rank streamed event.
Right, but I think I saw that on television though.
What?
Jesse Vargas, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, I watched it on TV too. I was on my cable. It was by Top Rank.
But it was a Top Rank only pay-per-view. But Bob Arum said this was going to be on free television. His words exactly.
Because it's a shitty fight. He's got other intentions.
It is. It's such a shitty fight. Okay, we're going to get off Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn, because that's just so depressing.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just move on to Saturday's fight.
Yes, let's talk about Saturday's fights. Let's give our official breakdowns, predictions. Adonis Stevenson making his sort of comeback fight in a way from being gone for about a year. Now he's fighting, Andre Fonfara in a rematch that nobody asked for. In the undercard co-main event, you get Eldelier Alvarez, the mandatory to Adonis Stevenson, fighting John Pascal in an intriguing fight between two, light heavyweights as well. Thoughts and predictions on this fight, Enrique and then Santiago.
Real quick, Adonis Stevenson has a knockout streak, right? I remember his last fight, he knocked somebody out. But we never know, at least I don't ever know who's his opponent. So I want to say that there will be no knockout, and Fonfara will feel that he got robbed. It's going to probably be a 12-round fight.
Yeah, Adonis's last win was against Thomas Top Dog Williams Jr. on a PBC event last year. It was, I believe, a 5th or 6th round knockout victory for Stevenson, and this would be his first fight in almost a year against Fonfara. And I feel, given how the first fight went and the level of inactivity that Stevenson has had so far, that Stevenson, combined with his age, is right for the picking for Fonfara to avenge his career loss against him and, become the WBC light heavyweight champion, get that upset. That's my initial take on this.
So
You can't handle the truth.
The truth is that this main event sucks. That this is a rematch that we do not need, and there's no purpose for it. And Adonis Stevenson is about to get another knockout win against an opponent that's not up to his level. And we're going to see on the co-main event the rightful guy to fight Adonis Stevenson and Eldelier Alvarez fight a washed John Pascal who's way over the hill and potentially hurt him.
Oh, this is a Canadian fight.
Yeah, is it in Canada? I don't know.
And is he with John Davis Jr.? John Davis Jackson, rather?
Yes, to answer Matt's questions, it's at the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Right. And John Davis Jackson is in Pascal's corner again?
Ooh,
I'm asking.
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would like to see who's the guy you mentioned? John Pascal's fighting.
Eldelier Alvarez.
Yeah, I would at least like that a hardcore fan call out Adonis Stevenson's next opponent.
I'll put it this way: this event is setting up the mandatory against Adonis Stevenson, trying to make the mandatory into a bigger fight by having the mandatory fight Jean Pascal. And Jean Pascal is a relative name in that division. I would say casual fans of boxing like you, Enrique, know who Jean Pascal is, have heard that name before, have seen him fight once or twice, maybe. So they go, oh, he fought B-Hop. Yeah, exactly. You know, that translates. That does. So I think that's the intent on this card. You're giving Adonis Stevenson a voluntary title defense, a rematch, and a knockout win against a guy who doesn't have the best chin, who was losing against Chad Dawson before he knocked out Chad Dawson. And we all know what Chad Dawson is now. I like Fonfara. He's a very nice guy. I met him a few times. Very polite gentleman, but I'm sorry, man. You don't deserve this fight, number one, and you're just levels below Adonis Stevenson. The only way Fonfara wins this fight is if Stevenson all of a sudden becomes old. If he hits, if all of a sudden he looks his age of 40. He hasn't done that yet, but there's going to be a moment where that happens, where all of a sudden he's going to look like a 40-year-old fighter, and he's going to drastically change. But again, Fonfara is not the guy to, you know, exploit the flaws of Adonis Stevenson, because there are flaws of Adonis Stevenson, but he's not the guy to exploit them.
What about Joe Smith Jr.?
Joe Smith Jr. would be an interesting fight. I give Joe Smith Jr. a much better chance against Adonis Stevenson. I still think Joe Smith Jr. is open to counters, and Adonis Stevenson is one of the best counter punchers in the light heavyweight division, if not the best, especially when you add in his power from his left hand. So I can see him definitely knocking out Joe Smith Jr. off of a counter left straight or a left uppercut or something along those lines. But Joe Smith Jr., along with guys maybe like Sullivan Barrera, Artur Beterbiev, and obviously the winner of Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward, all those guys are in the mix for great fights, and it's very hard to predict winners of all those fights and the mixture of matchups you can have in that top 5, top 7 in the light heavyweight division. I think they're all quality names, and they can all throw down. They all got power, except for maybe Andre Ward. So I think no matter who you match those guys up with, they're good fights. Just match those guys up with. Fonfara, he's not one of those guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wish Joe Smith Jr. made an announcement, because I actually like his story and his winning streak.
Well, Joe Smith Jr. is fighting Sullivan Barrera.
That's right. I remember that. You're right.
So that's a very good fight. That's an awesome fight. It's going to be in LA at the Forum in Inglewood. I definitely advise anyone, if you're in the LA area, to go out and watch that fight. Go support. You got 3 title fights on that card. Jezreel Corrales is on that card.
Making his U.S. debut.
And he just retired a legend, a future Hall of Famer. So you got to go check him out. And obviously, Miguel Berchelt, the destroyer of worlds, the boogeyman of 130. He's going to be fighting on that card as well. 2 title fights and 1 awesome fight in Joe Smith Jr. versus Sullivan Barrera. All action, all 3 of them. Definitely go check those out. Highly recommend it.
It's a fight worth going to watch live.
But I'll put it this way. The winner of that fight will have a claim to fight either the winner of Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev, or Adonis Stevenson. They will have the biggest claim to a title fight next, is the winner of Joe Smith Jr. versus Sullivan Barrera.
Joe Smith Jr. has a hell of a resume building up, from the Fonfara to the Bernard Hopkins, and now Sullivan Barrera.
Exactly. Again, Joe Smith Jr. has a knockout win against Fonfara, yet Fonfara got the title shot.
Yep.
Yeah, and we actually talked about it in a past show where we thought that the all likely roads would have led to Stevenson Smith Jr. because of his ranking in the WBC. So it was strange to see that he wasn't going to get the fight. And in hindsight, I do feel that Fonfara hasn't really done anything to get the fight. But at the same time, I still feel that this is a winnable fight for Fonfara against Stevenson.
I agree. It seems winnable, especially now knowing that he knocked down Stevenson. And then,
Are any of you picking Fonfara?
yeah, I prefer Fonfara. Yeah, but then Fonfara was gonna fight Joe Smith. That's not gonna happen. Joe Smith Jr. deserves a big fight like Superman, Adonis Stevenson.
But if Fonfara were to beat Stevenson, would he not become the big fight?
No, because he was knocked out.
But if he goes and knocks out Stevenson in the rematch, does that not do something to Fonfara's stock?
It doesn't say much about him because Stevenson can say, yeah, it does do to Stevenson's stock, put it into a negative or drop a couple points, but it doesn't say much for Fonfara because Stevenson can easily say, I came off of a 18-month layoff.
So you're picking Stevenson, but you want Fonfara to win.
I just have more faith in Adonis Stevenson. Yes.
Santiago, official pick on this fight.
My official pick, Stevenson.
My official pick is Fonfara. I feel
what?
Yes. I have always felt that if they ever did make the rematch, that Fonfara would probably have a better chance the second time around because with Adonis's advanced age of almost 40 years old, the inactivity that he's had, I feel that Fonfara will probably catch Adonis at the right time to take advantage of, the rust, work on the things that he failed to work on in the first fight. And we all saw that up until the knockdown body shot by Adonis, Fonfara really did have great moments in the fight, controlling the middle portion of the rounds.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know, Santiago. I feel like you're just trolling us, man. I mean, picking Fonfara, who just struggled with Chad Dawson, man. I don't know. It's just a lot of mixed emotions right now. I don't know if you should just
stay in your lane.
I don't know. LeVar Ball says stay in your lane. I don't want to question LeVar Ball. He is the truth. But co-main event, official picks on the co-main event, Alvarez versus Pascal.
Yeah, I'm going with Elilia Alvarez. Obviously, this is the fight to set up, title contention for either the winner of Kovalev Ward 2 or Stevenson Fonfara 2. So there's no way that, honestly, I really feel that Pascal's already passed it. There's no way he wins this fight. He may give a good spirited showing, but he's not going to win this fight.
Enrique. You are muted, Enrique. Rookie mistake, man.
Yeah, no. I have so many windows open. John Pascal, he has 4 losses. I wanted to look up his resume real quick. So Elilia Alvarez, who has 22 wins. I don't know much about this fight, but I'm gonna just go with what Matt thinks.
Smart man.
Elilia Alvarez, I'll give it to him. Even though just looking at his pick, I'm like, his stance looks crazy. Jean Pascal might be able to pull it off. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
He might. Well, Pascal's experience, like that's the one thing that he has, is that he's fought a lot better competition than Elilia Alvarez. And Alvarez's best win is a faded Lucian Bute, who moved up in a weight class.
So this is Eladi's test.
Yeah, but it's one of those where it's like, was Eric Morales' Danny Garcia's first test?
No.
It's one of those where at the time that was a good fight for Danny Garcia.
I would say
it's not.
You can't compare that because Eric Morales, he just looked like he was out of shape. He was he tested positive for PEDs. He wasn't in it. His mind wasn't in it. Jean Pascal may be in it. You know what I'm saying? His mind may be there. His body, his physique is still fighting shape. So this is a test for Eladi. I think it's, I don't know his style or anything. I should have YouTubed it, but Jean Pascal, I don't know. It's possible. Jean Pascal. We have to find out. But I'll pick Eladi just based off of, you know, the hardcore's pick.
And for the record, that fight is on Showtime. A couple more hardcore hipster fights of the weekend. Then we're going to wrap up the show. Bradley Skeet of the UK is fighting Shane Singleton. Other guys on the card is Haley Bin. Boy Jones Jr. is on the card. Pay attention to that over in the UK. Also, the legend himself, one of the best pound-for-pound boxers in the world, Wenhang Menothane of Thailand, is fighting for the WBC strawweight belt. I think it's like 20th title defense or some shit, some insane number. Pay attention to that. Obviously, you're gonna have to find a stream or some sort of illegal activity to watch the fight. Obviously, we do not endorse any piracy on Mixed Combat Radio, but you know,
shit happens, man.
Yeah, you know, Andrew Garcia says it. Shit happens. So I'm not gonna question anyone for doing it by, you know, certain means. But I think we're gonna wrap it up. I know Casual has no predictions on those hipster fights. I'm not even gonna ask him about them. I mean, I'm not. It's okay, Cash.
My favorite part about it was Angel Garcia. Shit happens, man. But yeah, I'm gonna watch the fights this weekend. I didn't know Jean Pascal was on the card, so yeah, I'll definitely be tuning in. I knew Adonis Stevenson was fighting from Fora, so I was a little bit excited about that, just because it's a fight to watch.
Oh, I want to bring up one last topic before we go. Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko 2.
What?
The IBF, I forget the name of it. The meeting they have every year, convention. The IBF convention they have every year is happening this week, and they're determining what's going to happen with the mandatory Kubrat Pulev, who is obviously the mandatory to Anthony Joshua. The WBA has already said that they will allow Anthony Joshua to fight Vladimir Klitschko over the mandatory Luis Ortiz. The IBF has yet to say that. Pulev will not take step-aside money. So it seems that we're coming to an impasse here where we might get the IBF stripping Anthony Joshua. Thoughts on if they're going to do it, and if they do it, does that say anything about either the IBF or Anthony Joshua?
Again, this is one of those where the champion, the name, I mean, it's surprisingly early for Anthony Joshua in his career, looking at his record, that he doesn't need any belts. He collects those trinkets. He beat a legend. He's got a Wilder in front of him as a possibility. Tyson Fury, you know, if he ever cleans up, people will watch Anthony Joshua regardless, and the Wembley will sell out.
Yeah, given the IBF's track record of being strict with the mandatories, I wouldn't be surprised that if they decide that Kubrat Pulev should be the mandatory that he fights next, that they do strip Anthony Joshua of his title if he chooses to take the Klitschko fight over his mandatory defense. And it would suck considering that it was the very first belt he won, but that's usually how the IBF work and what we usually praise them for being strict on their mandatories.
It's crazy because he can fight Pulev and still sell out if Klitschko declines on the rematch.
Yeah, I don't think he will. I think if Klitschko declines the rematch, he's retiring, to be honest. I just do not see Klitschko turning down that sort of money. But again, that's it. You're hearing the outro. We're getting out of here. You can obviously find me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter, Matt Hunter TBV on Instagram. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share, tell your friend about it. Obviously, this is like the TBV affiliate, so show some support, show some love. Enrique, where can they find you at?
Oh man, first off, thank you for the invite. Mixed Combat Radio, always another home. It was fun. You can find home away from home. You can find me on Instagram at Fight Talk. You can find me on YouTube, TBV_casual fan. I think I just started it. It's something like that. But yeah, I'm there, TBV_casual fan. I'm also TBV_casual fan on Twitter. And I just started a Patreon page. Where I'm gonna be giving things away, and that is called Boxing Fan Apparel. Patreon.com/Boxing Fan Apparel.
Yes, definitely go check that out. Support the culture, man. Support the movement, the TBV empire. You know, it's not just TBV here. We got MCR, Mixed Combat Radio. We got Cash Weezy with his own clothing apparel line. That's going to be the voice of the people, a representation of you guys. Santiago, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/SANT731.
Yes, go follow Santiago. Go follow Mixed Combat Radio on every platform. We are on patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. I believe that is it.
Don't forget Facebook.
Don't forget Facebook, of course. So peace. We're out of here.
Peace.